When I was a very young child, I kind of grew up with not loving myself. So at a very young age, I learned that I didn't like myself. Um, Probably because I didn't have a lot of love growing up, and I was kind of left to fend for myself. And so that kind of transitioned into when I became an adult and had my son at 17. I went to college anyways, graduated from SU with a 4-year degree, so I still handled my business, but I still didn't really have a lot of, you know, self-love. So I went from one relationship to another relationship to another relationship, and I finally had my last final relationship that really caused me to break. And I was with a not so nice man for a while, who I was already like, my mindset, my self-worth, my self-love was already at a low, right? And if you get with a man who is going to feed off of that, right? And they're going to control you and they're going to do bad stuff to you, you feel it even worse. So I was very suicidal at the time. And he was not the best guy. He had brought a gun to my house, and I tried to was trying to shoot myself in the act. He tried to help me, and he got shot in the hand, and I went to jail for this for a couple of years. So that was my really low. And of course, I understand that, I had a gun, right? And it could have been really bad. Someone could have got really hurt. So even though my intent was what I was trying to kill myself, but someone could have died. So I understand needing to be punished for that act. But when I went to jail, when I was able to really sit down with myself and really start doing the real work of myself as to who I am today. So that's kind of the short version of my story.
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie Stokes of Three Women Voices. Welcome. Today, my special guest is Layla Letitia. She will be talking to you about the role your mindset plays in coping with life changes. Hi, Layla. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thanks for having me, Debbie. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Start off by telling everyone a little bit about yourself.
Like Debbie said, I am a life coach and I do focus on mindset. I am the mother of one son. He'll be 27, 26. I'm from New York. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now.
Okay, so let's go back a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think the self-hate came from?
Just really, I think I grew up like I was a military brat, so my parents kind of like my mother and my real father were together. It was a very unhealthy relationship, abusive relationship. It was not good, right? And we moved around a lot, and so I went to a lot of schools with a lot of, not to say, but Caucasian kids, and I was like the only Black person in the class, and I just never really felt the love. And my parents were not affectionate parents, so I didn't have someone saying you're beautiful, you're great. I didn't have anybody cheering for me, so and I just never wanted to be living. I mean, I remember 8 years old, wanted to die at 8 years old. So it's
Wow.
I to bash my upbringing because that my purpose, but this I know where it all came from being young without loving myself, and I understood how that transitioned into me being an adult and being into really bad situations and how I handled them.
Okay. So now you said you were in different relationships, and you've been through abuse. Okay. Was it physical abuse, mental abuse?
So my son's father, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be kind of like this is going to be like whoa. So my mother, my real father, he's not living, so may he rest in peace. But he wasn't a part of my life. But I remember him being very abusive to my mother. And one of my biggest memories of my father was when he had a knife to her neck and he dragged her out the house. And I remember me and my brother being 3 and 4, not knowing if my mother was going to come home, right? So memories I have of my father. And then she married another man who was pretty abusive as well, right? Pretty abusive as well. And I just think the combination of all of that. So when I got into my first relationship with my son's father, my mindset then was telling me that no man's going to hit me, right? No man's going to abuse me, right? So I became the abuser in that relationship.
Oh.
No man was going to hit me, right? So when my son's father would, I would hit him first before he can hit me.
Oh, okay.
Abuser, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely a phenomenon, but that was only in that relationship, and the last one that I had was I actually the abuser, but I just didn't want anybody to hurt me first. So
Okay, okay. And I know you mentioned that you were raped before. How did that come about?
it's funny because when I read your questions, I was just like, wow, because I kind of like I would say that it's like it's like back there somewhere, and I kind of I felt some emotions from it because I kind of put it back here,
Okay.
But I was raped in 1998, which was a really tough time for me because it was on a military base, and I had to go through a court-martial trial, and then I was still in college, and then it was a really, really, really rough time. And I went to the court-martial. He was court-martialed. He was punished for the rape. But I didn't really have time to really deal with the rape because I was in my last semester of college, right? So I was in trial for a week, and then the next day I was going to New York to intern for my degree.
Okay.
So really no time to grieve or to,
Right.
you know what I mean? And so it's like, and the one thing that I have always been is that I'm very functional. I don't know if that's the right word, but functional. I function because I have to. I was in college and I had to finish college. I had to go to this internship at Chase. I had to do it because that's what I do. I kind of function, but I never dealt with stuff. So it just builds and builds and you don't deal with stuff.
Okay. So now moving on to when you said you had a gun and you were going to attempt to kill yourself. Okay. And your boyfriend at the time, he stopped you. That's how he got shot in the hand.
Well, it was a very emotional time for me. If people really don't, the effects of wanting to die is a very, very bad place to be. And he had left the gun at my house, and I was like on the computer trying to figure out how to use this gun, right? I was sick back then. I will tell you right now, I was not in the right frame of mind back then, but I was just like texting him all night. He was like ignoring me, and I know he had been out where he shouldn't have been out, and I was like, you know what, he needs to feel the pain because I felt